All right, everyone. So good afternoon, well, good evening in this case, and welcome to today's webinar. Let me check if you guys are able to hear me. Could you please write on the chat board if you're able to hear what I'm saying right now? Just to make sure. Clear and loud. Excellent. Thank you, Sophania. Okay, I think that we have waited enough. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start. So again, good evening and welcome to today's webinar, the importance of critical thinking for students. My name is Tatiana Ruiz and I am currently the academic coordinator of Jamestown Villavicencio. I'll be hosting today's webinar. The webinar will last about an hour. So if you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the chat room. I will either answer them as we go or at the end of the session. And in case if we run out of time, I will answer them afterwards by email. So you will definitely hear from us. And thank you in advance for taking the time to joining us tonight. And I hope that you enjoy this webinar. I hope you find it useful and that you can apply it in your daily basis. So it's great to see a lot of people joining us tonight. So let's get ready to begin. Okay. So first I'm going to share my screen. Laura, can you hear me? Ana Maria, can you hear me? Hi, Brian. Andres, can you hear me? Luisa, can you hear me? Well, I'm going to ask you to please just type on the chat room, just write, if you're able to listen what I'm saying. So all the interaction that we're going to have is just through the chat, okay? All right. Okay, guys, are you able to see my screen? Thank you, guys. Great. Okay, so the topic for today is the importance of critical thinking for students.
Critical thinking for students.
Exactly, critical thinking for students. So maybe you have heard about this topic before, or maybe not. Probably this information is completely new for you. And in case that you have heard about it before, well, I hope that you find new information in my presentation. So let's start. Before we start, I would like to share this quote that I found while I was making the research of this topic. It says, learning occurs when the mind makes connections between what it already knows and new, previously unknown items of information. This quote was said by a famous writer. His name is Joaquin Waters in 2006. So he basically defines learning as a transformative process of taking in information that when it's internalized and mixed with what we have and experienced before. It changes what we know and builds on what we do. So my point is that learning is the acquisition of knowledge or skills. It could be through study or training or experience. So I hope that you guys are ready to learn something new today. So let's move forward. Today's webinar's content will teach you the meaning of the word skill, types of skills, what is critical thinking, describe how critical thinking can be used to solve problems, the importance of critical thinking in the 21st century, and last but not least, how to identify the strategies for developing yourself as a critical thinker. Good. So as I already mentioned, before we start with critical thinking, we're going to talk about the meaning and types of skills. So I would like to ask you first, do you know or have you ever heard about this word skill? Do you have any familiar knowledge about this? So I would like you to type on the chat room, what do you think it means, the word skill? What is a skill for you? So please write on. So I would like for you to write or to type on the chat board. What do you think is a skill? What is the meaning of a skill? I just want you to share your knowledge with all of us. A skill is a talent or an ability as well. Okay. We also have other information about this. What is a skill? How would you define the word skill? I would like to see other people's perspectives. Thank you, Brian, for sharing your information. Okay, skill is the capacity to use our abilities and talents in specific ways. Thank you, Stefania. Great definition, okay. What else do you guys have? Skill is like an ability that someone stands out from the others. Interesting. Thank you, Andres. Very good. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to give you my definition of the word skill. So what is a skill? If you look up at the dictionary, this word, you will find that a skill is an ability or is the capacity to perform an activity in a competent manner. Basically, is the ability to do something well. So I agree with Brian and with Stephanie and Andres. You guys are right. Is the capacity to use your abilities. Very good. And there are a variety of different types of skills. They can often be divided into soft skills and hard skills. So I'm going to show you what is the meaning of hard skills and soft skills. I would like you to type. I would like you to type on the chat room. Have you ever heard about the words hard skills and soft skills? Are you familiar with this? No, first time. Thank you, Stefania. Not really, Andres. Okay. All right, so I'll show you what is the meaning of both of them. Okay, so here we have. Let's start with hard skills. So what are they? Typically, you will learn hard skills in the classroom through books or other training materials. Basically, hard skills are teachable abilities or skill sets that are easy to quantify. In this case, these are more like technical skills. Hard skills include the specific knowledge, specific abilities required for a job. These types of skills are usually learned, and they can be defined, they can be evaluated, they can be measured. So in this case, hard skills are pretty objective. Yeah. So here we have some icons that represents some of the hard skills. So I'm going to give you an example of a hard skill. Proficiency in a language or proficiency in a foreign language. That is a hard skill. For example, in your case, you guys learned English at Jamestown, I guess. And in this case, in order for you to learn this language, you had to go through some materials, you had to go to classes, you had a teacher, you basically were trained to learn how to communicate in this language, right? So that is basically a hard skill. You needed to be taught how to use this skill. Another example that we have here, it could be a certificate or a degree, which it shows that you have been trained in a particular task or in a particular skill. Yeah. We also have computer programming, maybe typing speed also could be a hard skill. Good. Now let's go with soft skills. So what is the difference between hard skills and soft skills? So on the other hand, soft skills, they are somewhat difficult to quantify. And in this case, soft skills relate to someone's personality and ability to work with other people or with others. Unlike hard skills, soft skills are subjective. Yeah. So they include your interpersonal abilities, how you relate with other people, how you interact with others. So in this case, it's different. You probably won't learn this with a material or in a classroom. It's difficult for you to be trained to have this kind of skills. You will gain these skills with experience. Here we have also some icons that represents some of the soft skills. This one, for example, it could be good communication. So the way you communicate with people is a soft skill. Teamwork, the way that you relate to other people, in the way that you connect, in this case, with other people, it could be a soft skill. Time management is also a soft skill. Empathy is also a soft skill. In this case, critical thinking is also a soft skill. So before we continue, just to reinforce this information that I have given, I would like to show you this really short video about the differences between hard skills and soft skills. So in this case, I would like you to go on Nearpod, open a Nearpod account, and I'm going to write on the chat board the code that you will need to access. Okay, so open a Nearpod and access with this code, please. Here we go. EIFUS is the code. So please go to Nearpod and open on the student session. Just put this code and you will be able to see the video that I have for you guys. The video lasts 1 minute and 49 seconds, so it's pretty short. Please let me know if you're able to access. So just type yes if you are already on the session. Thank you, Nia. Yes. Ana Maria, thank you. Who else? I only got 2 people connected. Camilo, are you able to access? Yes, Andres, very good, thank you. Okay, now let's play the video, okay? Okay. Now I have an activity just to make sure that you guys understood the information. It's a fill in the blank activity. So I would like to share first. Let's put on the chat board. We're gonna type or we're gonna write on the chat board which from the skills that we have at the bottom do you think belong to hard skills? So please type on the chat room which of the skills that we have right here do you believe they belong here in hard skills. So we're gonna start with hard skills first. All right. Bilingual is a hard skill. Very good. What else? Bilingual, typing speed, machine operation, hard skill. You learn this through materials. Computer programming, very good. And degree. Excellent. Thank you guys. Very good. Now let's go with soft skills. So soft skills in this case are adaptability, teamwork, organization, empathy, creativity, and the topic for today, critical thinking. Very good. Yes, Brian. All the ones that are left. Excellent. So now that we have cleared the differences between hard skills and soft skills, we already know what a skill is. We can continue with a soft skill, which is critical thinking, right? So again, before we start with the definition of critical thinking, I would like to show you again a video that is on Nearpod. That is going to give you a heads up about the meaning of critical thinking. So please play the video, just 1 minute and 32 seconds. Okay, so it says that basically critical thinking, it's an ability as well, right? It's a soft skill. And we usually don't get trained in a classroom on how to think critically. This is a really hard skill to learn. And here they give us some ideas on how to be a critical thinker. For example, here I like this part of the video that says, basically the definition is pretty broad, because it could be applied to many different situations in your daily basis, right? So let's take a look at more definitions of critical thinking. So here we have critical thinking is reasonable reflective thinking focused on deciding what to believe or do. Is best understood as the ability of thinkers to take charge of their own thinking. I have another definition right here. It says, critical thinking is the analysis and evaluation of ideas and information in order to reach sound judgments and conclusions. So the definition of critical thinking is not universally agreed upon. It's simply the ability to understand why things are the way they are, and to understand the potential of consequences of actions. Critical thinking is an ability to analyze the way you think, the way you present evidence for your ideas, rather than just simply accepting your personal thoughts or your personal reasoning as sufficient proof. That's why this is one of the most challenging skills to be taught at any educational level. It provides the students with enough tools, not only to replicate information, but to construct knowledge. Usually this skill requires lots of planning, lots of feedback. That's why sometimes it's complicated or it's difficult. So yeah, your critical thinking ability is also part of your soft skills, as I said before. But that doesn't mean that you cannot be trained to learn it. You can actually be trained at it. So I'm going to begin by considering the importance of this topic, why this topic has become so important or so popular nowadays. It's a particular topic, particularly in the 21st century. This is one of those topics that keeps coming up and sometimes refers as a 21st century skill. And I'm going to show you why it's important to be a critical thinker. But first, I would like to show you a question. And this question that I'm going to show you has a gap or has a space. So in the chat room, again, I would like you to write, what do you think is the missing word? What word will you use to complete the sentence? In this case, there are no absolute correct answers, but there are some answers that are more correct than others. Now, here's a question. In the 21st century, why do I need a teacher when I've got blank? So you guys have a space. I want you to share your knowledge or your information, like what do you think is the word missing, or what word would you like to use for this sentence? How will you complete this question? So here we have internet. Brian says internet, maybe Google. Okay. So yeah, why do I need a teacher if I have Google, right? I can find everything online. Like I can just go on Google and find everything. Who else has a different opinion? YouTube, okay, of course. What else? TED Talks, interesting. I love TED Talks. Yes, I agree with you, Nia. So, okay, lots of ideas, very good. Now I'm going to show you the answer, or I'm going to show you the word that I have chosen. So in this case, I agree with Brian. So why do I need a teacher when I've got Google, right? I think this question represents the fact that students, in this case, you guys, have so much access to information nowadays. You can go to YouTube, you can go to Google, you can go to in Instagram or Facebook, to any familiar network that you use, and you can easily find or search for information. In this case, we are in a situation where students or people in general are surrounded by so many ways of getting information. For example, if you need to show, if you need to know the translation of an English word, you can just use Google Translate. Or if you need to find out some information to help you with your homework, well, you can easily go to Google. And from my own experience, when I give students research projects, they will, for example, go straight to Wikipedia. So in this case, we are surrounded by so many sources of information. But one interesting thing that has come up in the last few years is that students can use internet all the time to get information. But the problem is that Google doesn't teach you, or it cannot teach you how to choose the correct information. And I'm going to give you an example of what I'm saying right now. Have you ever heard about the expression fake news? Are you familiar with the words fake news? What are fake news? I'd like you to write or type on the chat board from your own perception. What do you think is fake news? So what are fake news? wrong information supposed to be right. Okay. Thank you, Brian. Who else has something different? False information, lies to make us afraid. Okay. Like, for example, I have heard some people saying that COVID-19 is false. Some people say that is fake news. They don't believe in that. So that's something difficult to question, right? Good. In my case, I tried to run an experiment. And I wanted to use my critical thinking on this. So this doesn't have an audio, it's just a video. In this case, in this experiment that I tried, the other day I was trying to find out if drinking coffee was good for me, and I just went to Google because I wanted to know. So I just typed, okay, reasons not to drink coffee. So what are the negative things about drinking coffee? And I found, what are the negative effects of drinking coffee? So I found 9 reasons to stop drinking coffee. This could lead to things like addiction, high blood pressure, no extra energy benefits, reduces sleep quality, and it is expensive, a big hole of in your wallet. So I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't drink coffee. It sounds like it's really bad for your health, and money-wise, maybe it's not the best. So I was like, okay, but what if I want to know what are the benefits? So I Googled reasons to drink coffee. So what is the positive aspect, or what are the positive aspects of drinking coffee? And I found this. So yeah, I was curious about if there were actually any reasons to drink coffee, and in result, it looks like it's actually the completely opposite. It says here that coffee may help protect against cognitive decline. Coffee is healthy for your heart. Coffee may lessen your risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Your liver loves coffee, so it's the whole completely opposite of what I searched before. So I was like, okay, so I should trust which opinions, right? So what's the twist? There are, in this case, these are not random, unsupported online claims. Everything that you see there is legit, it is reviewed, and everything is backed up with information, as you see here. So how do we resolve this kind of situation? So how do you resolve this kind of contradictory claims? Basically, we're going to put in practice our critical thinking skills. So by thinking critically, what does that even mean? So people might be able to get lots of information from many different types of sources. In this case, for example, from Google. But in this case, do we have the skills to recognize whether the information is true or not? So do you like drinking coffee, teacher? Well, sometimes I do, but sometimes I think, I don't know if it's too much coffee could be good for me. So I just try to exercise and drink coffee sometimes, maybe once or twice a week. But the point is here that in this case, we should put in practice these skills, the critical thinking, for almost everything. So what are the benefits of critical thinking? Here we have something that it was said by Linda Elder and Richard Paul. They are the authors of this book, which is called Critical Thinking Development. And it says, students who know how to analyze and critique ideas are able to make connections across disciplines, see knowledge as useful and applicable to daily life, and understand content on a deeper, more lasting level. So this is one of the benefits of being a critical thinker, right? Learning critical thinking skills can also enhance or can also help you in your academic performance. In this case, let's take a look at some of the characteristics of a critical thinker. Critical thinking skills allow you to understand and address a situation based on all available facts and information. When using these skills, you will sort and organize facts, data, and other information to define the problem and develop effective solutions. So, what are the characteristics of a critical thinker? Can you answer yes to the following statements? I can tell the difference between facts and opinions. Yes, sometimes. I'm still working on it. I evaluate evidence to decide whether an opinion is reasonable. Yeah, all the time. I have to evaluate a lot of things all the time. In this case, I also need evidence all the time. Me as a teacher, I have to be really critical about the performance of all of you guys. So this is a really important skill for us as teachers. I change my mind when I find evidence that shows I may not be correct. Yes, in this case, you should be humble about what you believe or step aside of your opinions and your beliefs, right? You need to know how to separate them. I can look at a problem from different angles, so it's important to have empathy, to be empathetic with other people, and to listen to other people's opinions. It's important to share what you think and be open-minded to other people's information, right? I can ask relevant and probative questions. Always doubt, always question things. It's important for you to be accepting for all the information that you get. I recognize preconceptions, bias, and values in myself and others. So basically, those are some of the characteristics of a critical thinker. Good, so in this case, a good critical thinker focus on the most relevant information, ask the right questions, separate facts from opinions, set priorities, they learn quickly, apply what they learn to new situations. Okay. This is the process of critical thinking. And it says, let's take a look. Inform and describe. When talking about inform and describe, it means that we have to clarify the information that we receive. We have to need to know a little bit more about the information that we receive. And we need to put in practice, in this case, how to separate what we believe in and what we have the opinion of it. And discover and explore. In this case, we should look at the issue or the topic in a more closely way. And negotiate and cooperate. We should consider different perspectives and be ready to engage in discussion with other people. As I was saying, we should be more empathetic about the other people's perspectives or other people's opinions. Test and revise. In this case, we should test out different ideas and different alternatives and look for the evidence. Integrate and apply. Bring together different ideas that you have considered in order to consolidate and articulate new understandings. Okay, guys, before we finish, I have a really short quiz. It's a questionnaire. It has 5 simple questions about what we just saw. So I would like you to answer either on the chat room or on Nearpod if you still have access to it, okay? So the first question that we have here, asking questions is essential to becoming a critical thinker. Is that true or false? What do you say, true or false? Write on the chat board. Asking questions is essential to becoming a critical thinker. Yes, you should always ask yourself questions, or you should always be curious about the information that you receive, right? Is it true? How do I know it's true? Do I have evidence for this? Good. Next question. Gathering, like put it into what, like, how do I explain this? Yeah, like recollect information before reaching a conclusion is important for critical thinking. Is it true or is it false? Do you need to gather information before reaching a conclusion? True or false? Just type on the chat board again. Of course, true, true. Okay, guys, I agree with you. Very good. In this case, it's true. Nonetheless, in this case, it's important to gather information. You need to not just have one source of information, but to look different types of information from other people just for you to reach into a conclusion. It's important to see other people's perspective or other people's opinions. Yeah. So in this case, it's true. It's important to gather additional or the information that you can get before reaching to a conclusion. For example, I was putting, for instance, the topic of COVID-19. Some people, for example, my mom says that is something that doesn't exist. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna just listen to my mother. I need to know, I need to listen, I need to search, I need to look for different types of opinions, right? So I would like to gather different opinions before I jump into my own conclusion, right? It is always important to collect all possible information before releasing a conclusion. Excellent, very good, Brian. True. Let's go with the next one. Which of the following does a critical thinker need to do? Get a degree, be an expert, think open-mindedly. So A, B, or C? What do you say? Think open-mindedly. Very good. Absolutely C. Excellent, Brian. Thank you. Very good. So yes, actually, in this case, it's important for you to be open to other people's opinions about the topic or discussion that you have. So this is also skill. Think open-mindedly. Now, critical thinking is necessary when writing essays. For example, when you guys took the IELTS, in this case, I remember that you guys had to write I don't know how many words regarding a specific topic. So you need to collect information about what you saw, what you have seen, what you have experienced, right? So critical thinking is necessary when writing essays, taking exams, choosing your major, and applying for a job. Is that true or false? 150 words firstly and 250 secondly. Thank you, Brian. Okay. Absolutely. Yes, it's true. In this case, for us, it should be true. True, the answer. Very good. Yes, critical thinking is necessary when you write essays, taking exams, choosing your major, and applying for a job. Excellent. Very good, guys. Okay, in this case, we have finished with today's webinar. Thank you very much again for joining us today. I really appreciate the fact that you all took the time to attend this session. I hope you have found this information useful, and I invite you all to be more critical, skeptical about the information that you receive, either from the media or your parents or friends, in general, any source of information. Doubt about everything and always be curious. Read articles, newspapers, watch the news. Maybe not Caracol or RCN. Maybe could try with BBC or CNN. Just to practice also your English and to know what's going on outside, like to know what's happening in the world, right? So before you leave, I would like you to answer some questions. We have a survey. It's just 2 questions, so don't go yet. Just give me 1 second, okay?